Hey, it's Ryan. Do you have an Ikon pass and you've seen that dot on the map in South America? That's Valle, Nevado here in Chile. And I'm here with Jordan and Brian, and we're going to check out this resort and tell you all about it.
Valle, Nevado can be a very expensive resort to ski and stay at, but we traveled there on a budget, and I'll tell you what we did to avoid the high costs of the on-site hotels. Flying into Chile is easy to the well-connected Santiago airport, and we rented a four-wheel drive truck and grabbed supplies to eat and drink at our hostel. We arrived right after a big storm, so the city had a lot of downed trees and power outages, but with a few short detours, we were headed toward the mountain. The drive to the resort from the airport is less than 2 hours, but that assumes no stops and clear roads, which is not always the case when traveling to somewhere that you want to get snow. There's also shuttle buses available if you want a day trip in Santiago or to avoid renting a car. As you leave Santiago to head up the mountain, there's a checkpoint to make sure that you have chains for the extra grip on your tires. We rented chains from some people on the side of the road just before the checkpoint, and they came in handy. Make sure you look up how to put them on while you still have phone service, or plan to pay someone to put them on for you. Our 72-hour chain rental cost us 100,000 Chilean pesos, and we paid a very nice bus driver $25 to fix the chains that we had put on incorrectly. The hotels at the top of the mountain have date restrictions for parts of the season, requiring all guests to check in and out on certain days of the week. The weird restrictions didn't work for us, plus we found rooms at the hotel were upwards of $1,000 a night, and it was about the same for the nearby apartments. We chose instead to stay at a small-scale hotel in Farellones, only 12 kilometers away from the resort, where we had a hilariously tall triple bunk bedroom costing only $620 for 3 nights. Heading to the resort was a process in itself and varied depending on the road conditions, but generally took an hour to go the 12 kilometers up the mountain. Since we were late arriving every morning, we were told to park in a secondary parking lot and had to wait on the hayride truck to take us to the rental lodge. There is a ticket office here, and for Ikon Pass holders, they'll need to either see your Ikon Pass card, your pass number on your phone, or a confirmation email of your Ikon purchase. Make sure to screenshot those ahead of time in case their Wi-Fi is glitching like it was for us. The rental process was pretty typical but can be super slow. At the day parking, they naturally only rent skis for 1 day at a time, which means you have to go through the rental process every morning. Full day rentals with skis, boots, and poles cost 50,000 Chilean pesos per day, or 34,000 Chilean pesos for a half day, which starts at 1 p.m. We also waited in another line to rent a locker, which cost 9,000 Chilean pesos per day for the middle size. There's a big benefit to using Mastercards at Valle, Nevado, as you can get lots of discounts when you mention it to the cashier. Just make sure your card has no foreign transaction fees. Finally, it was time to hit the slopes, but the gondola was down for maintenance. This meant we either had to wait for the cattle car to take us up the mountain to the hotel, or hike uphill for the bar area above the rental shop. This took us to the small beginner area button lift, or we could turn left and head downhill to the Prado chairlift. Later, we also found a secret pathway to the Prado lift by walking across the parking lot, past the Jeep-only parking. I wouldn't call the resort particularly beginner-friendly. It does have a few green runs, but even when we were there on non-crowded days, those runs were crowded and chaotic with a ton of beginners on skinny paths. Not the best for learning. Valle, Nevado also has 5 trail ratings, which mostly follow standard North America ratings, except for the red triangle called Advanced, which fits in between Intermediate and Expert. Most runs also have these holes on the side of the path where the colors match up with the difficulty rating of that run. This helps a bit with knowing what run you're on, as the signage on the slopes is limited. The lifts at Valle, Nevado also tended to be very slow, though we found the lines to be pretty short at every lift except the beginner area. Many of the lifts are button lifts instead of the chairlifts that I'm used to. If you lean back in those, you'll have a bad time. Some of them can take off pretty quickly, so don't grip too hard or you might tear something in your biceps.
At least pull the muscle. My bicep.
There are lots of groomed runs at the resort, especially in the main front part of the mountain, along with plenty of opportunities to get some fresh powder skiing off the main trails if there's been recent snow. The resort got upwards of 80 centimeters of new snowfall while we were there, so there was plenty of powder for me to get stuck in. In the middle of the lower section, you'll find the only lodge on the mountain, Bajo Zero, which has bathrooms, food, drinks, and a small store. There are also similar services at the lower rental lodge and at the hotel area, plus some local dogs that may or may not be very nice to you. If you string together a few lifts, you can make it to the upper part of the mountain comprising of mostly advanced and expert territory. All these lifts are button or T-bar lifts, which tend to wear you out after a while.
We came up the Tres Puntas lift, and it's kind of only expert territory up here, except for one blue, so we're going to take that blue down. But me and Brian are up here. This is the top of Valle, Nevado. The wind is kind of intermittent, but Valle, Nevado, a lot of the back area is more experienced territory. Very cool to be in the heart of the Andes, way up this high.
There are also a couple other ski resorts that connect on the west side of the territory, so make sure to only go that way if you have lift tickets that work for those other resorts. Overall, our experience at Valle, Nevado was okay. The resort is designed to make it very convenient for those staying on site and paying the tons of money, and not very convenient for those just visiting for the day. The views and experience of being in the heart of the Andes was awesome, but the button lifts were exhausting on their own. The resort is a short drive from Santiago, but it could be a long journey if the roads aren't clear. I'm glad we went and experienced it, and it was fun to ski in August, but I think this will be a one and done for me.
That is it for our time here at Valle, Nevado in Chile. I hope you were able to learn a lot of the pros and cons about coming out here with an Ikon pass. If you have any questions about the resort, please leave them in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer all of them I can. Next we are headed to Valparaiso on the coast of Chile. See you in the next video.